Wasn't the man, wasn't the name, but it was the number on the turret that you would call it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, he wasn't in the tank. He was
On the CP?
yeah.
Command
away from
station.
it.
Yeah.
He said, I can't ride in the tank with you. This is because I'm in charge of all 18 tanks here.
Oh, sure.
He says, when I'm in the tank, I can't see all 18 of them.
No, you can't. Oh, great. Awesome. So what was it like to drive the Sherman in combat versus the little Stewart?
Oh boy, it was a lot better. There was a lot more room in them.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Golly. Yeah.
And how did the Japanese take to these Shermans? Were they really, worried about the Sherman tank
Oh yeah.
in
They were,
combat?
yeah.
Because they didn't have anything really that large.
No, they
Their
didn't.
tanks were small.
It was a smaller tank.
Yeah,
It was,
smaller than that, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Sherman, boy, what a motor. What motor did you have in yours? Was it the radial as well? Or was it
That's
the flathead?
Twin.
The twin Chrysers.
Yeah, twin diesel.
Twin diesels?
Yeah.
You guys got all the hand-me-down equipment, didn't you?
Yeah, right.
The ETO got the beautiful Cadillac gas motors.
Yeah.
You know, the big 550 Ford V8s.
Yeah.
And you guys had those twin. I heard they're really hard to keep synchronized, keep running correctly and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's right. Yeah.
Because they're basically two motors linked together
Yeah, they
as
were.
one. You know, I mean, they tried to, like these are two independent motors, but those were actually joined.
Uh-huh.
You
Yeah,
know,
they
and
were.
Yeah, that's a lot of.
We had a lever that cut them apart.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so if something went bad with one of them, we could cut it off and still run on the other one. We didn't have as much power with that, but
Now, how long ago did that disappear, the pistol?
about a year ago.
Okay, because I know some people. I'll put the word out.
Okay.
I mean, I know some guys. I mean, I can't believe he would give that away.
God, I didn't give it away. You know, I let it.
No, I can't believe he gave it away.
I can't either. Jeez.
Yeah. I have one of those.
Do you really?
Yes, I do. You know, I've never fired it, but I have it.
It's one of the gun show.
Yeah, those Japanese pistols are there. So this stuff was just lying in the dirt randomly, or did it look like they were placed there?
Yeah, well, they were placed in the trees.
Okay,
That's
so-
where they were living.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it was like and they were all cleaned out.
Yeah.
There was
they
nothing
were-
left.
Yeah. There was a nice clean area in there
Okay.
where they were living.
Yeah, so they left and got wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Because those were highly coveted, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
To get one, it was
Yeah.
a good trade bait, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, some things never change. When I take these out to go drive them, I hide all kinds of food and water in them, you know, because you don't leave the vehicle.
Yeah.
You know, and you're in there for hours and hours and hours. And people don't realize the sound, the physical stress. You're always searching to look at things so you don't run anybody over. It's a lot of work.
How do you run them on the streets? Are you allowed to do that?
No, not this. I ran this one around here. Luckily it rained that day. You couldn't see the tracks. But, you know, we're careful. You know, I mean, when we see, this is all private property back here.
Or is it?
So when we bring this thing out, we'll put it in a straight line and, go down, a row and then climb. But, yeah, it's just a lot of work, as you know, to keep them maintained. We're starting a maintenance schedule here, and we've come to realize that these things have to be run every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I let mine sit for 2 months without running. It took me 6 hours to get it running again. I mean, everything had to be played with. Everything had to be touched. The
right.
battery was low. The fuel system was clogged. The fuel
Yeah.
filters were dirty. I mean, it just went over and over and over.
Yeah.
So it's just so much maintenance to keep that stuff up
Yeah.
and running, It's just amazing. Now, who are these gentlemen in this photo here?
This part of my tank company. I don't remember all their names.
Now, is this you here with a dog?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just a random island dog, huh?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. This was on Guadalcanal, and you can see our tents are all
Yeah, I
around
see
there.
'em.
We were there for I think we were there for 10 months,
Wow.
and
that's
we
quite
had
while.
a battle in the middle of the 10 months on Bougainville.
Uh-huh.
Then we went back to the island, and they took our
M3's away?
M3's away and gave us Shermans.
Uh-huh.
And then we had about 4 months to train with the Shermans there on Guadalcanal. And the captain then said, after I learned how to drive the Sherman, he come by and he said, I've got some more armor plate for you. I says, what? What are you talking about? He says, it's about an inch thick. And he says, it's about 10 foot long. And it's about 40 inches high. I says, where are you going to put that? He says, in front of you. I says, well, how am I going to see then? Well, he says, you're going to be the operator of it. It was a bulldozer blade. And he said, you can raise it up and down, but he says, it'll be this high, you won't be able to see everything in front of you like you can when it isn't there. And I said, how come you're giving me that thing? He says, because you've been driving that tank so good. He says, I want to make you a bulldozer blade driver. He says, because I've seen all the other drivers in the company and they don't seem to drive as good as you do. And I says, well, what's that blade got to do with it then? He says, well, you're going to do a lot of construction work or break up construction work or run over these slant eyes, cut them in half. I said, okay. How much time am I going to have to practice with that blade? He says, well, I just got word that we're going into the next battle. And he says, you'll have about 3 months to practice with it. And I said, okay. So when he would take the other guys out, he'd say, you go by yourself and practice with that. Don't run around with us. So I practiced there about 3 months, working on that blade, working against trees and digging things, and we had a road that it was about a half mile around this road, and one of the areas there was covered with water, and he said, why don't you cover that water over so that we don't get our tanks all wet when we go through there, because they was taking these guys around, letting the drivers get used to shifting up and down and letting the gunner, swing his turret around and things. And he says, why don't you see if you can fill that water thing in there? I says, okay. So I did. I worked for about 2 days on it, digging up. And the last day, I was covering it up so that there wasn't any mud water in there. And I dug down in the gutter like this, and I dug too deep. And when I went up with it, the blade stuck on the back end, and the back end of on the front, and the back end hung on the dirt that bank that I cut out, and I was sitting there with the tracks going around. And everybody had gone back to the company then. So I told the radio man, I said, that was this guy. Where is he?
Right here.
Yeah, I told him, I said, John, call the captain and tell him I'm stuck over here. Send the retriever tank over. Because they had a retriever. You ever seen a retriever tank?